Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Lisa, Best Life Lee, and today I am making an instant pot meal. It's during the week, it's actually Monday, and this recipe actually comes from a new cookbook that I found, and this is the Best Instant Pot Cookbook by Gooseberry Patch. And I had taken one of their recipes that I showed you over the holidays. It was my mom's hot chocolate, and I actually couldn't find that cookbook anymore. It's out of print, and I didn't realize that the two women who do Gooseberry Patch are still doing cookbooks. This is a real recent one. This is the copyright is 2019, so this is a brand new one. I picked this up actually at Joann's, and what I'm going to be making today for supper, for a quick supper, is a beef pot roast with cider gravy and maple sweet potatoes. I'll show and it looks fantastic. I'm not going to be making the greens, but I do have some frozen peas that I'm going to make with it. So it should be quick. And that's the key for making a meal like this on a weeknight. Normally, I would never be able to do that because it's just a lot of work for a weeknight. But this recipe doesn't look bad at all. It calls for a 3 to a 3.5 pound shoulder roast, a boneless beef shoulder. This is 2.5 pounds. It's just my husband and I, so I don't need a huge one. And it calls for 3 pounds of sweet potatoes. This is a little less than 3 pounds. This is probably 2 pounds. But again, this is plenty for me and my husband. So I have the Instant Pot on saute, the saute function, because I'm gonna brown the pot roast. And you can see that when it gets ready, it says hot. I just put it on the saute function. So what I'm gonna do is it calls for 2 tablespoons of olive oil to brown the pot roast. So I'm just going to put my 2 tablespoons in there, and then I'm just going to brown each side. And I'm going to use my tongs. And you can hear that start to sizzle. So it's not going to take long to brown. What you do is you cook the pot roast for 45 minutes, and then you add the sweet potatoes and garlic, and then you cook it for another 6 minutes. And then after that, you take out the sweet potatoes and you mash them with a little bit of maple syrup, fresh ginger, and garlic, and then you make like a gravy in the pot. So I'll show you all that, but what we're just doing right now is we're just getting the meat browned on all sides. And so what it calls for, once it's browned, it does call for onions. I spaced it out when I went to the grocery store and I didn't buy onions, so there isn't going to be any onions in here, which is fine. I'm sure it'll be fine. The other thing is it called for apple cider, but I have apple juice and I have tons of apple juice, so I'm using apple juice instead of apple cider. All right, I'm going to show you what that looks like. So you can see that it's nice and brown on all sides. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in a 1/2 cup of beef broth. And I'm supposed to top it with the roast. So I'm going to take the roast out. I'm just going to take this out for a second because it wants me to put my ingredients in and then top it with the pot roast. So my cider, which is apple juice, 2 sprigs of thyme, and I still have my thyme from my little herb garden this summer, so I'm going to use that, 2 of those sprigs. And Still very, very fragrant. I love it. I love having my own here. I'm just gonna, it calls for 2, but I'm just gonna put a couple in there, a few in there actually. And then salt and pepper to pot. Calls for half a teaspoon salt and 3/4 teaspoon pepper. So I'm gonna put this is half a teaspoon of salt and 3/4 teaspoon of pepper. So I'll use my little Pampered Chef one that has a little, and I'll do my 3/4 of a teaspoon of pepper. It's a lot of pepper, okay. And then it says to top it with the pot roast. Okay. That's all set. Right. And then it says to close the lid. And again, I always make sure that there's a little thing under here. If you notice, it's like a little tiny string like. I always make sure that's not underneath my seal, because if it's underneath the seal, I had that happen one time, and get down. Come on. I had that happen one time and my steam started to escape and I didn't know what was wrong. So it's that little tiny thing. It's got to be out of there. All right, so just gonna put my lid on, seal it, put this little thing and make sure this little thing is in the sealed position, because that's where the steam starts coming out of. All right, and now I'm going to hit pressure cook for 45 minutes. 45. Show you that. 45 minutes, okay? So my roast is gonna cook, and in the meantime, I'll peeled, cut into 1.5 inch pieces. So in the meantime, I will peel and cut the sweet potatoes, some garlic to put in with the sweet potatoes. So that's that. I'm all done with the time. I'll put this back away and check in with you guys in 45. It will seem like just a second has passed. All right, so I have my sweet potatoes cut up into 1 inch pieces, and what it called for was after the 45 minutes you let it release its steam naturally, and then you can open the lid, and it calls for me to add 2 teaspoons of garlic in the sweet potatoes, and then to close the lid and put it on pressure cook for another 6 minutes. So I'm gonna hit cancel to turn it off. Now the strange thing, okay, did you ever follow a recipe and feel like there's something missing? So that's how I feel about this right now, because first of all, it told me to have 1 cup of beef broth divided, half a cup went in with the roast. It doesn't call for the rest of the beef broth anywhere in the rest of the recipe. I've read it like 3 times. So I don't know if it wants me to add more. I don't think so, because I'll take a look in there. And the other thing is, it says 2 teaspoons of garlic minced. And then when you take out the sweet potatoes to mash them, it says remove sweet potatoes and garlic with a slotted spoon. There's no way you're going to remove minced garlic with a slotted spoon. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put 2 cloves of garlic in there with the sweet potatoes, and I should be able to pull them out in a slotted spoon when this is done. So I'm going to get my garlic. So I have a couple of good pieces, good cloves here. And then the other thing that I have is ginger. And what I did with the ginger, here's my 2 cloves of garlic. I'm just gonna cut them so I can take the peel off and just leave them whole. And the ginger is, I peeled my ginger with my potato peeler, and then it just calls for some minced ginger in when you start mashing the sweet potatoes, so that will be after. And then what you do too is you make a gravy in the Instant Pot with the liquid that's left. So all I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to drop in my potatoes and drop in my garlic, and the rest, the roast is still going to stay in there and cook for another 6 minutes. So I'm going to remove the lid. Yeah, there's plenty of water in there for my potatoes. So I'm just going to put my potatoes in. It does smell good. I will show you what it looks like in here, the liquid and the roast. I don't know, it might call for the rest of the beef broth. Yeah, I think I'm going to put the rest of the beef broth in there because the potatoes are not fully covered. So I'm putting the other half a cup of beef broth in. That's got to be, you know, it just probably forgot to, it left that out. And then, so I'll put that in there, and then I will put my 2 whole cloves, because that will get mashed in with the sweet potatoes after. All right, I'm going to show you what that looks like. All right, so there are my sweet potatoes, and my roast is in there looking good. So I'm going to cover this up. All right, so this has finished 6 minutes. And just to let you know how I minced my ginger was I just used I use this cheese grater, and it has like a little section for mincing. So I minced my ginger, and I have my 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. I have my water and my cornstarch. So what I'm going to do now, when you do the rapid steam, you have to be very careful. That steam is going to come out and it's going to be very hot. So I have my Temptations mitts, which these are awesome from Temptations. On QVC, you can probably get them from temptations.com. So I'm going to pull this toward me, and I'm going to release that steam. All right, so I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to hit the cancel, well, because I'm going to put it on saute when I do my gravy. But so I'm going to take the cover off. Yep, those are definitely done, I can tell. So I'm going to take my slotted spoon, and I'm going to scoop those into my bowl so I can mash them. I'm going to take the meat out and put it on a plate. Then I'm going to slice it up. But I don't want my cat to get it. There's the roast. I'm just going to put it on a plate. Get the rest of my sweet potatoes out of there. So I'm going to mash these. So I'm going to get my masher. I'm going to put in my ginger and my maple syrup. And mash these up. They mash up very, very easily. They mash so easily. I'm just gonna kind of whip them a little bit. They look great. They smell great with the ginger in there. The sweet potatoes. Now, what it says to do for the gravy. Skim the fat. I don't see a lot of fat in there. I'm just gonna go around the sides, but I really don't see fat. I just kind of tip my spoon on along the edges, but there's really not a lot of fat that I can see. Dissolve the cornstarch in the water, put it on saute. So I put it on saute, and then I bring that to a boil. So I'm going to put some aluminum foil on that. I'm actually going to put my peas in the microwave, my roast, so that I can carve it on my carving board. And I can put the meat right back onto that plate. So I'm going to dissolve my cornstarch in my water. I can use that spoon because it just was in there dipping to get the fat out. I'm going to dissolve my 2 tablespoons of cornstarch in 2 tablespoons of water. And when that starts, that's already starting to heat up good. So what you want to do is bring it to a boil so that it will thicken up with your cornstarch. So it's already coming to a boil. I'm just going to put my cornstarch in there. Bring it to a boil and let it get thick. I'm going to slice up my roast. I don't know if I'm cutting it the right way, if I'm supposed to. Yeah, that looks like the right way. I'm going to shut this off because that's came to a boil. This is slicing up like a dream. Smells like my grandmother's pot roast at Christmas time that she used to cook in the oven for hours on end. So let me just show you what this looks like. So there's the gravy, and here's the roast. So,
we're on live?
We're on.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm gonna plate this for you, and you're gonna give it a taste, and you're gonna let me know what you think.
It's already good.
It is?
I can tell. Oh, that looks good.
It does look good.
What's that, a roast beef?
It's a roast beef. It smells like my grandmother's roast beef. You know?
Oh, it's
Is that plenty? And then we're gonna put, so you can handle it. Then we're gonna peas. And some gravy. I gotta show the plate. Babe, you gotta wait 2 seconds to see the plate. All right.
Looks good.
All right, now I want you to take a taste.
It's really good.
Take a taste of the roast beef and the sweet potatoes, and let me know what you think. Here's the taste test, guys.
Absolutely delicious.
Is it good?
Absolutely delicious. Better than good.
All right, guys.
Wow.
I'm going to make my plate, and I will give a picture at the end of what it looks like. But you can have pot roast on a weeknight with your Instant Pot, right, babe?
Wow.
All right.
Delicious.
Thank you for watching this video. I hope that you've been inspired to give the Instant Pot a try. I hope you'll let me know if you do. Thanks so much for stopping by. Thanks for subscribing to my channel. If you're new to my channel, I hope you'll subscribe, and I hope you'll hit that like button. And I hope you'll come back.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.
Bye.
Bye for now. I just wanted to say that this tastes absolutely amazing. The mashed sweet potatoes, then you can taste the ginger, but it's just so light. It's not overpowering. It's not, and the roast beef is so tender and flavorful. This is definitely a keeper.